So I'm here at a Ford dealership today because they just reported their earnings and they were a disaster.
Yeah, a rough day for Ford.
Ford has been the very clear laggard, to be nice, in this category.
So after Ford reported, their stock dropped.
Ford has definitely underperformed.
They have rows and rows and rows of F-150s, Broncos, Mach-E's, and they have nowhere to put anything. There's nowhere to park on this dealership right now.
The pressure is on for Ford.
Tough guidance from the company has sent the shares in reverse.
They have a high inventory of vehicles out on the lot right now.
Car dealerships are in absolute panic mode right now. They have vehicles that they can't find spaces for. Look down this whole lot. These are not parking spaces, and brand new cars are being stacked in the middle of aisles because they can't find places to put them. And check this out, vehicles you couldn't find. Broncos, you've got 100 of them sitting on this lot. There's a row right there, there's multiple right there. You have a whole nother row right here. They are overrun with vehicles that were rare 12 months, 18 months ago. Now, look down that line. You can find them everywhere. Here's the reason why. A Bronco, $98,000. Now it's a Bronco Raptor. It's a top trim, but who's paying $100,000 right now for a Bronco when everything costs so much? And they have a full line of them. They're not going to sell them. They're too much. They're too expensive.
The EV division still lost money, $1.22 billion.
They sold about 32,000 EVs, so that equates to them losing about $37,500 on each EV that they're selling in this past quarter. That's an absolute disaster. All right, and on the earnings call, Jim Farley said, we have a global price war fueled by overcapacity. Yeah, I would think that looks like overcapacity to me. This is a problem. Jim Farley knows it. These Ford dealerships know it. They got too many trucks. They're not going to be able to sell them. And it's fueling a price war. What does he mean by that? He means that, okay, well, we're dealing with it, Ford.
The clear laggard, unless you look at Stellantis.
He sees that Stellantis, Ram is dealing with it. So if you want to get one of those consumers now, okay, we have to be way cheaper than Ram because Ram has the same problem that we got. It almost might be worse at Ram, but I mean, this dealership might say otherwise. There's more trucks way up there. This is an absolute nightmare. It's going to be a race to the bottom for a lot of these trucks because these dealerships, they have to get them off of their floor plans. Even your run-of-the-mill family vehicle, just a SUV, a Ford Explorer, not anything crazy. Check this thing out. It's a 2025 Explorer four-wheel drive. The price on it, $43,000 for the average family vehicle. You're still, after fees, everything like that, you're getting close to $50,000 for your average family vehicle. Absolutely insane. And this right here, this is Ford's biggest problem. This is the biggest thing that they're having to deal with right now. These Ford Lightnings, these trucks that no one wants and they can't sell. $88,000 for this thing. It's so bad that they have halted all production of the F-150 Lightnings until next year.
Latest sign of a slowing demand for EVs, Ford announcing it's reducing production of its F-150 Lightning.
And what does that mean? That means people have to lose their jobs because there are assemblers, there are hourly workers that are putting together these Ford Lightnings. Nobody's buying them. Dealers have turned down allocations. Ford has to stop producing them so they don't pile up. They're already piled up, so they don't pile up even more, so they don't take on more losses. So that means production cuts. That means people lose their jobs because Ford has made a product that people do not want. So let's check out one of these Mach-E's right here. This is, I mean, let's go ahead and put it out here. Negative $37,500 right here sitting on this Ford dealership lot. Mustang Mach-E. It's a 2024. We're coming up on 2025, but we still got tons and tons. I mean, look down this whole row, all Mach-E's. Look down this row, all Mach-E's. But these are all going to be 2024s, and we got 2025s coming out, and this is a $44,000 vehicle. And really, that's as far as EVs are concerned, on the more affordable side of price point, and they still can't sell it. And they're going to continue to be able to not sell these things because people are not buying them and they don't want them. And it's just a thing of absolute cash destruction coming from Ford. And this is something the shareholders do not want to see. And this is a big headwind going forward for Ford, both on the Mach-E and on the Ford Lightning. So if you're not believing just by me showing you this level of inventory at this dealership, well, AutoNation thinks a similar thing to what the shareholders think, to what I think, to what just generally everyone in the car market thinks is that they're getting out of the Ford space. So they recently just sold 8 dealerships, and 5 out of the 8 were Ford dealerships. So what does that tell you? AutoNation is one of the biggest car dealers in the US. They're one of the biggest auto dealer groups, and they're in the business to make money on these brands. They're in the business to make money on these franchises. And for them to be selling Ford dealerships at this time tells you that Ford is not a place that they want to be in. They are seeing similar situation at their dealerships. They don't want to be stuck holding the bag like it looks like this dealership is right here with all of this inventory. Think about all of that floor plan, all of that interest cost that they're going to have to pay holding this inventory. AutoNation knows it's not a good spot to be in, so they're liquidating a lot of their Ford dealerships because Ford is not in a good place. And you can see it right here. You can see it right here. You can see it over there. Ford is a bad place to be in the car market right now. AutoNation knows it. They're getting out. So they're making these trucks, and then there's issues with them after the fact.
More than 100,000 F-150s being recalled. They say there's concerns about a rear axle.
So we know that Ford is good at doing two things. Well, one, the F-150 is the #1 selling vehicle in the US, so they're very good at selling the F-150. But then after they sell that F-150,
550,000 Ford trucks are under a recall tonight.
they are really good at doing something else. They're really good at recalling these F-150s right after they make them. So Ford is separated into a bunch of different divisions. We have Ford Pro, which is their fleet division, which is actually doing very well right now. We have Ford Blue, which is retail, and then we have the EV division, which is hemorrhaging money right now. But your Ford Pro division is going to be your retail, is what's going to buy like these Ford Explorers, your Ford Escapes, your F-150s, all your trucks, your SUVs that are meant to be for the retail public. And that division, their profits were down 5.3% for the quarter. And I think it's really telling across the market because we're seeing that, okay, they're stacking up all this inventory everywhere. So what does that mean for these dealerships, and what does that mean for Ford? Well, that means they have to incentivize these consumers to be able to buy these vehicles to get butts in seats. And that's going to come in the form of, okay, money on the hood, which is money that is going to come off of the car when the consumer buys it, or it's going to come in the form of special interest rates. Both cost Ford money. So as we see inventory pile up at a dealership like this and dealerships across the country, what that means is that they have to make less money because they have to be more competitive with not only themselves, but all these other dealerships and all of these other manufacturers that are trying to get consumers into cars. So the way that they do that is by lowering the price. When they lower the price, they're going to make less money. We're going to see this across the board at all these automakers. As inventory increases, profits are going to go down. Inventory going to go up. Ford Pro division actually did pretty good, but they lost a lot of money in their EV department, and they had to revise what they thought that they're going to make in their retail division. It just shows that investors are knowing what the car market situation is going on right now, and it's showing the weakness coming from Ford.
This is Ford versus GM over the last 2 years. Historically, these guys trade pretty darn close to each other. Look at the split that we've seen, especially in the last 3 months, but over the last year, you really see that General Motors has outperformed.
Which GM is knocking the cover off the ball right now. They're doing good with production. They're limiting the amount of supply that's going to their dealers. They're not overrunning their dealers. And check out what Ford is doing. All these vehicles that can't even fit in spaces. We got vehicles sitting over here. We got vehicles sitting over here. We got full rows of F-150s everywhere, full rows of Broncos everywhere at these Ford dealerships. And it's what Ford is doing wrong, because now they have to add so many incentives. And what stockholders, what shareholders are picking up on is that Ford's doing all the wrong things in this market right now, where other companies may be excelling it at. Ford is not, and it's really telling that the shareholders, even though the numbers didn't seem on face value all that terrible, they still sold off the stock. I mean, check out what I'm seeing right now. So they have a row right here. See, the F-150 is facing this way, starts all the way back there, and then goes all the way down to that section down there. But then in front of it, they have another line of vehicles. But check out here behind me. This is what's the crazy part. So all the way over to that end row, if you can see way back there, this is their service department over here. So they need those spaces to park vehicles that are getting worked on, and they can't. going all the way back to the end, there are new vehicles that are still peppered in throughout this whole. And the crazy thing about it is they need those spaces because they have vehicles. They make a lot of money in their service department. But if they don't have places to put them, they're going to have to start turning down customers. So look, this is a full line of Broncos. We are at the service center at this point. Going from this section over should be all service center. And no, we have a full line of Broncos. We got another full line of Broncos right here. We have F350s. We have Super Duty trucks. We have another line of F150s. These are all brand new trucks. These are not vehicles that are being fixed right now. Another line, F150s. You got more Lincolns coming in here. You got some, I think there's a few Mavericks down through there. But more F-150s. Ford Lightning, Ford Lightning, Ford Lightning. More F-150s, some Expeditions. These are still, you can see the sticker right here, $50,000 truck, brand new truck. This is not a truck that's being worked on. All right, now we're getting into actual vehicles that are getting worked on. You can see that Ford right there, but brand new Bronco, brand new Bronco. F350, brand new. I can see the sticker on it right over there. So you still have new vehicles and you only have one more row of parking spots for their service department. Oh, and look at all this. Brand new vehicles right here. More brand new F-150s. This is absolutely insane what we're seeing right here. This dealership, they can't hold any more vehicles. They're going to have to turn down allocations. And it looks like right now, they've still been taking allocations and they don't know what to do. I just talked to a salesperson. They're like, I mean, we got to put Lincolns over here because the Lincoln store is not selling anything, but we got nowhere to put the F-150. I don't know what we're going to do. You want to buy a truck? You want to buy a truck? Yeah, there's so many out. Just let me have one. Like, they wouldn't even know that one was gone. They could just give me one. Who would know? And one more thing that really scared shareholders from this earnings report is that Ford pulled its expectations down for its Ford Blue division, this retail division, from doing $6 billion to $6.5 billion all the way down to $5 billion. That's a big decrease in what Ford believes it's going to do. And Ford looks at these dealers and they know the inventory that they have. And remember, a customer to Ford is not you and me. It's not a consumer that walks up onto a dealership like this wanting to buy a car. These vehicles that are here right now, they're already in this dealership's hands. They've already been sold from Ford. So what that's telling me is that if Ford expects their numbers to come in $1.5 billion less in the retail division than what they were expecting, that means that they're seeing right now in real time that dealers are turning down allocations. They're seeing that dealers are struggling right now and they can't take all the vehicles that Ford wants to pump to them. And it's easy to see, right? I mean, it's easy to see. This is easy to see. You can see this with your eyes. And Ford is seeing it on paper right now, and they've probably been seeing it for the last few quarters, that sales are starting to slow down, that dealers are starting to slow down, that dealers are starting to have way too much inventory, and they're not going to be able to keep up with this. And that means allocations turn down, that means production slow down, that means less vehicles shipped to dealers, less sales for Ford. It's not good for future outlook. So I go to all these different Ford dealerships, and what's interesting is I always see a surplus of these F-150s, right? It's got that line right there. I mean, I've showed you through this whole video. F-150s sitting everywhere. What do you not see a surplus of? What you not see any of? I mean, I see one right there in front of me. Ford Mavericks. Trucks that are $25,000, $30,000. Don't see any of those. I wonder why. Ford doesn't make a lot of money on those trucks. These dealerships, that's what they would want to have. That's what they'd be able to sell. That's what the salespeople definitely want to have. Even though they make less money, dealerships like to turn and burn a lot of vehicles because they really don't make a ton of money on these F-150s that are out here. Where they make their money is off their dock fees, off service, off of F&I products, things like that. It's where they make a lot of their money off of. And so they want to sell volume so they can pump more of those products to consumers. And guess what? Ford doesn't make any money on those products. That's all dealership money. So they would rather pump them with F-150s that they're going to make lots more money than a Ford Maverick. So that's why you're not seeing any Ford Mavericks. It's not about what the people want. It's not even really about what the dealerships want. It's about what makes shareholders the most money, what makes Ford the most money. And that's why I will continue like that.